It's opening night in the NFL, kicking off the NFL season. You're watching the National Hour. I'm Darius Thigpen.
And I'm Jeffrey Hammersley.
And Jeff, I know you are excited. We are finally getting football back.
I'm so excited. I'm so excited. I brought in my Peyton Manning jersey.
Oh,
when we do this Ravens versus Broncos thing, and we do like the expert opinions and stuff, I think you know who I'm rooting for today. But I just got to show the Manning jersey. I'm so pumped up for football season.
Opinion piece with a jersey on. I don't know.
I'll make it happen. Trust me, I'll make it happen. This is the week.
We'll get right into this game. The Ravens and the Broncos opening things up tonight. That is going to be 8 o'clock on the NFL Network. First game without Ray Lewis for the Ravens in their history, ever since they went from being the Cleveland Browns to the Baltimore Ravens. They've had Ray Lewis, and now it's their first game in franchise history with him, coming off a Super Bowl win, no less. So it's going to be a new-look Ravens team.
Yeah, especially because I'm from the D.C. area, and it's like Ray Lewis has always been part there. Like people, all the Ravens people, they've always had the Ray Lewis jersey. Now it's just weird that he's gone now. So I think for Baltimore, it's like a new chapter in the entire franchise, but at the same time, it's like it's a new direction. There's no Ray Lewis there in the locker room to motivate the team. I think that is for a complete team standard. It's going to be a lot different feel.
And this game also, you normally have the Super Bowl champ team in it. The Ravens are in it. But they're opening up on the road in Denver.
Yeah, it's a great matchup with the Ravens and Broncos again, like the last postseason. We all know how that went down. But I think at the same time, it's really strange. You would think if they're going to open it up, start off in Baltimore, the team won the Super Bowl, the fans would love to have them there, do like the Super Bowl celebration, all that stuff. But opening up on the road in Denver, I don't know how I feel about that. I think if you win the Super Bowl, you should at least open up your first game at home.
Yeah, I'm a fan of having the Super Bowl champs at home. I mean, it's great for Denver. I mean, Denver getting to open up the season, that's really good for them. But
for the Ravens,
it's weird. Like, yeah, you are losing out for the Ravens.
It's strange. Especially, it's a divisional match. It's like a postseason game almost. You would think, we won the Ravens. Hey, we won the Super Bowl. We should at least get the first game at home. It's like now it's like we're on the road to Denver. It's like, come on now. But I think it is what it is. I can't sit there and call into Goodell's office and say, hey, you should make the Ravens go home. I think it's the chips fell, and that's what happened.
So I don't think I really need to ask this question, but Jeff, who do you have winning this game?
I am going to say Peyton Manning is going to lead the team to the victory today. Open up 1-0, and I think the Broncos this year, another great season, another great postseason run.
As hilarious as you having the Manning jersey is, I do totally agree with you. I think Denver is the team to beat. I have them going to the Super Bowl from the AFC. I feel like what they already had, they added on to with Wes Welker. Now they have two really solid slot guys with Eric Decker and Wes Welker. On the outside, they've got Demaryius Thomas. They've got good tight ends, and their defense is one of the best in the NFL. I don't see how they don't win at least 12 games.
Yeah, this team, it's like last year when Manning first came in, they struggled that first couple of games, and then they just went off on like a 10-11 game. It was a win streak. It's just an absurd win streak. I think most of the pieces are back. Manning's still there. Then, as you said, Darius, Wes Welker's there. This is going to be a very dangerous team, even though I believe Von Miller's on like the suspension.
Yeah, Von Miller is suspended for 6 games, so you do have that.
But I expect them to maybe win 4 of those games. That's still, they're on pace. They can still get a 12-win season, as you said. I really think this team, once Miller gets back, there's not going to be that many problems. But I think this team is definitely a Super Bowl favorite entering a brand new campaign this season.
So going from one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time to one of the great ones from right around here, Terrell Pryor, Ohio State's quarterback from a few years back, is now going to be the starter, it looks like, in Oakland. He's beating out Matt Flynn for the starting job, and all reports are that it's going to be Pryor starting week 1.
Yeah, really. I think that's good for Terrell Pryor that when he left Ohio State, it was like, well, is he going to make it? Supplemental draft, went to Oakland, didn't really get that much playing time last season, but now he at least has a chance to make it. I think that's good. But at the same time, it's like for Matt Flynn, it's deja vu. It's really, he went from Green Bay to Seattle thinking he was going to be the starter. Russell Wilson got there. Then he goes to not New York, but to Oakland. It's like, hey, I'll be the starter. No, Terrell Pryor's going to be the starter. So I guess it's just like one of these things for Matt Flynn where it's like wherever I go, it looks like I'm never going to be starting here in the NFL.
I mean, you do kind of feel bad for the guy.
I really feel bad for him.
Obviously, the fact that he got a boatload of money from Seattle, you don't really feel too bad about that, but the fact that he was pretty much guaranteed to be a starter, and he didn't get the starting job. Russell Wilson literally stole it from him, and he was just phenomenal, that much better than him. And now Terrell Pryor is given the job.
In Oakland, of all places. You would think if Matt Flynn's going to Oakland, hey, he may make it.
If he's going to make it anywhere, it's got to be
Oakland. But if you can't make it in Oakland, I don't think you're going to make it in the NFL.
Well, there's always Jacksonville. There's always
New York
Jets.
Even though you can put Matt Flynn, you have Brady Quinn, Geno Smith, Mark Sanchez to duke it out for the quarterbacking job there. But really for Matt Flynn, it's unfortunate. But I really think it's one of these things that if you don't have it, there's not much. If someone else has more than what you can bring to the table, there's not much you can do at that point.
All right, so let's get to some picks for these games this week. Cincinnati at Chicago. First one we're going to look at. First game for Bears head coach Mark Trestman. Chicago is going to be at home against Cincinnati. Cincinnati was on Hard Knocks, so the country feels like they know the Bengals. We'll see what happens on the field if this team translates from what everyone saw in training camp to now game action.
I feel like because of Hard Knocks, I know so much about the Bengals, and this is almost like a biased pick of sorts. I'm going to take Cincinnati because I just know what they have to bring to the table there. But I really think you have guys like Andy Dalton and really Giovanni Bernard, who's like the sensational running back. I think those two pieces right there, they can do a lot in this for the AFC North. I really think the Bengals, they will be one of the favorites to at least make the playoffs and maybe make it to maybe the championship game or divisional at a minimum.
I don't think Chicago's defense is going to be nearly as good as what they were last year when the defense was putting up 20 points per game. I don't think that Jay Cutler is going to have a phenomenal year. He's going to be better than last year. But I see them having growing pains with the new head coach. Matt Forte is going to be limited as well. I think he's coming off of injuries, so that's going to slow him down a bit. And I do see Cincinnati playing well. So I'm going with the Bengals as well. I think they're going to have a really solid year. I'd love to see what Giovanni Bernard does, but A.J. Green and Andy Dalton, they have a connection like no other.
And I really think we saw that last season with A.J. Green and Andy. That was the air raid offense, and they needed to make the big pass plays. A.J. was there. Now, he did get injured a little bit in the practice during training camp. I think if he comes back full strength, Bengals are going to be fine this season. Back to the playoffs they go.
Don't forget, at running back, they still have the law firm. Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis.
That's
He's
true.
Always
that's a big one.
Okay, another game we're going to look at, Miami at Cleveland. This is the first game for head coach Rob Chudzinski for the Browns, and they're taking on the Dolphins. That game is going to be at Cleveland. So a nice little test for the Browns in the first game. Miami, a trendy pick to maybe upset the Patriots and get in there in the AFC East. Cleveland, just looking to do something in the AFC North. Who do you have in this one?
I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm going to say Cleveland. I really think a new era, if they can start off, this team's going to be motivated to win. It's a new season. It doesn't matter what you did last season or 2 years ago. It's a brand new season. I think for Chudzinski to come in, if he can get the team morale up and they can win the first game, expectations might get raised just a little bit more up in Cleveland. So I really think the Browns, really for them, a big win here if they can get it.
Well, the old man Whedon is approaching 30 years old, but he's still playing really well for a guy just in his second year. Ryan Tannehill has been very impressive as well, but what it really comes down to, I think, is going to be the running backs. Trent Richardson versus Lamar Miller. I'm going Trent all day long in that matchup. I don't see Miami stopping Trent before Cleveland is able to stop Lamar Miller.
Trent Richardson, he was just a monster in Alabama. He's still been a monster here in Cleveland in the NFL. So I really think you were right, Darius. He's got to be unstoppable. You can't stop that. He's just got to be running that ball all day, all night. And Whedon, if he can get some receiving plays and some decent amount of passing yards and passes, Cleveland should be fine in this one.
Yeah, watch out for Greg Little and Josh Gordon, receivers for Cleveland. So 2 picks in. We took both of the Ohio teams, a couple of homer picks. So now let's go around the NFL. Atlanta at New Orleans. That's going to be a good game. That's going to be the return of Sean Payton for the Saints, and Drew Brees coming off a phenomenal year. His second consecutive 5,000-yard season. No other player in NFL history has ever done that. Now he gets his head coach, offensive genius Sean Payton back, taking on Atlanta.
I mean, this is going to be a tough one because you have Matt Flynn coming off that huge contract extension, so a lot of expectations for him. As you said, Darius, Drew Brees has been he's been New Orleans ever since it's really that he's been there, won a Super Bowl there for him. I think in the end, this is going to be a high-scoring game and a very close game. I think the duel of Sean Payton returning, it's being a divisional game, and Drew Brees, I think the Saints open up with a big win at home in New Orleans.
All right, finally we are able to disagree. I'm going with Atlanta in this one. I hear everything you're saying. I think Drew Brees is going to have a great year. I have him on fantasy, so I'm really happy for this. But I do think that Matt Ryan is going to have a good game with his new running back weapon, Steven Jackson, who had a tremendous career in St. Louis. And now you take out Michael Turner, who was really not doing much for them, averaging something like 4 yards a carry. You put in a great running back like Jackson. I think that balanced offense is just that much more better.
I really think for the Braves, not for the wrong team, the Falcons, I really think for them, if they can, they've underachieved in the postseason. I think if they have really a steady piece at running back, because Turner had 1 or 2 good seasons when he was like really the starter. I mean, he was lighting up the field, getting tons of fantasy points. But I really think for the Falcons, if they can put those pieces together, they can make a run. But I think today, not today, but when they play on Sunday, I think New Orleans will do just enough to get by Week 1 against Atlanta with a very big marquee divisional win.
All right, now we've got a player who was playing in New York the last couple of years. Now he's going back to New York. Darrelle Reeves. It's almost like he never even left. He's going to be playing at the Meadowlands at the Jets. Bucks at Jets. It's going to be an interesting game. Return of Darrelle Reeves. Who do you see winning this one?
I have Tampa Bay, mostly because I think the Jets are just not they're not together. The chemistry's not there in the quarterback situation. It's not good. I think that kind of problematic stuff in your offense and as a team in general, it's going to be a very rough year in New York, and I think it starts off rough with a loss at home to Tampa Bay.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bucks as well. Improved defense, and the Jets, I mean, their quarterbacking situation is just out of whack right now.
No.
Moving on, Green Bay at San Francisco. Great offense, great defense. That's going to be a fun one to watch. Jeff, who do you have in this one?
This is going to be a really fun one to watch. If Aaron Rodgers at Green Bay and Kaepernick in San Francisco, I think I'm going to say home field advantage is going to matter. I think Kaepernick, he will go lights out. We saw him last season. He was unstoppable toward the end. I think more the same this year, and I think open up with a big win against Green Bay, and the expectations are San Francisco should get back to the Super Bowl.
San Francisco can neutralize Green Bay's offense, but Green Bay's defense cannot neutralize San Francisco's offense. We saw what happened in the NFL divisional round.
Absolutely.
It's going to be pretty much a repeat of that. I'm going with San Francisco, who I also have in the Super Bowl. Philadelphia at Washington Monday night. That's going to be a fun one to watch. RG3 making his return, and Chip Kelly with his fast-paced offense coming to the NFL. Who do you have in this one, Jeff?
I'm from the D.C. area, and this is over the summer, the whole RG3 thing, it was 6 o'clock news on NBC. It's like, will he play? Will he not play? Will he practice? Will he not practice? What did he say? What do you have for breakfast? It's stuff like that. But
they showed him on stage doing jumping jacks, so it was just everything.
The hysteria around RG3, I mean, it's high, and also the expectations are high, because this guy, he wants to play at a high level. We saw him in the Seattle game in the postseason last season. He was hurt. He wanted to win badly. And I think that kind of mentality is very infectious for a team. I really think Week 1, even though Chip Kelly can bring that whole new offensive stuff to Philadelphia, I think RG3 will just be way too much. I say Washington at home.
And, you know, it's kind of an argument right now for who's the best player on that team. Obviously, RG3 is hugely important, but a guy who was really instrumental to their success last year, Alfred Morris, their rookie running back from a year ago, put up over 1,700 yards. He was phenomenal, Jeff. Nobody really got to talking about him until they looked at his stats at the end of the year. And saw
really,
how great
it's when you start seeing him in the postseason, like, hey, this Alfred Morris guy, this guy's really good.
Bad.
And now he gets one real year here under the radar, or people are expecting great things from him. I think between that and RG3 and everything in between there, I think they'll have great seasons. I really think Washington, they'll be able to take their division in the NFC. I can easily see them back in the playoffs. I can even see them winning 1 or 2 games and being on the doorstep of a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and we are both picking Washington on that one as well. Okay, last game, fantasy special, Carolina at Seattle. That's going to be an interesting one to watch. Seattle going to Charlotte to take on the Panthers. Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, can really get into that, but also Seattle's defense is a fun fantasy pick. There's a lot of fantasy implications on this one, but I think we can agree on who's going to win the game, probably in Seattle.
Yeah, I got to go with Seattle. I think Pete Carroll coaching, Russell Wilson as your quarterback. That guy, when Russell Wilson came in last season, he bursted onto the scene, and I don't see him going away anytime soon. So I think Seattle very easily, they could put 40 points up on Carolina Week 1.
Yeah, and let's not forget about beast mode, Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah, I mean, that whole entire combination, that's a very deadly combination in the NFL. You got a quarterback that can run, scramble, and pass. Then you have Marshawn Lynch who can just truck people over. I see it being a very tough time stopping Seattle this season.
So sticking with the fantasy football field, give me a sleeper for the NFL this season.
We mentioned him on the first pick in this segment, and I think it's Giovanni Bernard. I really think he's coming up. He's the rookie. He is now the man in Cincinnati for the running game. I think looking at what I've seen from him, this kid is fast, and this kid, I mean, he can make passes. I really think for the Bengals, having him, give him the ball, he'll get you the yards, and in the end, a ton of fantasy points.
And I think I'm going to go with T.Y. Hilton, a receiver for the Indianapolis Colts, who had a great year last year. Nobody really talked about him because it was Andrew Luck putting up most of the stats, but Hilton was, next to Reggie Wayne, their leading receiver. So it's going to be a fun year for him if you have him on fantasy. All right, so that's going to do it for our NFL talk. We're going to take another break. When we come back, we got more of the National Hour for you here on Buckeye TV.